and welcome to the 10th Annual Arts is Healing Gala. My name is Karen Berger, and I am the Vice President of Arts is Healing Foundation. I am pleased to introduce Nancy and Ken Kranzberg, our special honorees for this year's event. They represent a major force in the St. Louis arts community. They have established numerous venues that provide art experiences in the fine arts, in dance, in music, in theater, in poetry, to name a few. They also are very philanthropic, helping to support different nonprofits, such as Arts is Healing, and other groups in the St. Louis area committed to the arts. Now, for Arts is Healing, being able to honor them is very special because we feel a special affinity to you guys. Our mission is to bring the therapeutic benefits of art to cancer patients and to others with chronic illness. And we do this by providing them with free art lessons and other art-related activities. Nancy and Ken, I'd like you to tell us something about how you got involved in Arts Project and how it is developed.
Well, first of all, I like what you just said about Arts is Healing. I mean, that's the name of the organization. We really believe that the arts nourish the soul. We like to think of the arts making a positive change. They can revitalize neighborhoods, promote diversity, and the arts are a business. Ken, take it from there.
So we began collecting. Nancy loved the arts, I mean, from the very beginning. And I guess, you know, happy wife, happy life. So first thing you know, Nancy decided we should go to a local gallery. It was, the lady's name was Carol Shapiro. She had a gallery in her basement. And we bought a small piece of art for $90. When I came home that night and I realized that we had spent $90 for something like that, I broke out into a cold sweat. And had I known what it was going to lead to, I would have collapsed and died on the spot.
Okay, all right.
But then we started buying more expensive things. And like we bought something for $1,000. It began to grow and grow and grow. And since we loved St. Louis, it was always St. Louis art. Right. Or if it was something that was out of town, it was bought from a local gallery. Mm-hmm. So we would support a local gallery as well as St. Louis artists. And I said, you know, Nancy, we ought to have some place to hang some of this artwork besides our house and our office. So we decided that we would have a little gallery just for ourselves. It wasn't supposed to be open to the public, but because of Nancy's love of music and our love of the theater, we thought we would also have a small little space where a small group could either play music or do a show. And that was going to be the whole thing. I wanted to buy it, have the place be in Grand Center. Well, what I wanted to buy was a little more than I wanted to spend. And Vince Shamel was the executive director of Grand Center at the time. And he said, Big Brothers, Big Sisters wants to do the Woolworth building. But they don't have enough money to do the Woolworth building. Would you put your money into the Woolworth building and take part of that building? So we did it, and the structure and what we had turned out to be so much more than I had expected. That was the beginning of the Kranzberg Arts Foundation.
And in that building went an arts gallery, artist studios, a cabaret theater, a small theater, and a theater with the
120-seat black box theater.
Yeah, and several different theatrical groups perform there. And then my friend Scott Miller, who runs New Line Theater, which is musical theater, said, I'm coming back and I'm going to do musical theater in St. Louis. I said, Ken, find him a place. Ken did, and this is where our grandkids come into focus. We named the first theater, or the first building,
it's the Marcel Theater. Well, Marcel was named after my mother, who was Marcel, and our oldest granddaughter is Sophia Marcel, and our oldest granddaughter in California is Marcel. So we named it the Marcel.
And then our red-haired grandson Zachary Alexander, said, "And what about your Zachy?" And now, you know, right.
And wouldn't you know, the Cadillac building, which is at 3224 Locust, was on the market. We bought the Cadillac building. We had ideas of putting an event space on the fourth floor, putting a 200-seat black box theater on the first floor, and we did it all, and we were going to name it the Zac, and somebody said, let's make it modern. Let's call it the Dot Zac. So it's now the Dot Zac. On the roof, because it was the Cadillac building, they had this huge elevator that would take you all the way to the roof. Our youngest daughter out in California is Sally. So we have Sally's rooftop garden.
Wow.
But we partnered with Urban Gardens, and we grow 5,000 pounds of vegetables on the rooftop. The Grandel had been converted into a theater. It was an old church built in the late 1800s, and it was deteriorating badly. It was no longer being used, and I suddenly thought, you know, the Kranzberg Arts Foundation could cobble together 4 or 5 different things to do in the Grandel. So I made a deal with Grand Center, and we bought the Grandel.
And within the Grandel is the Carrie Hawk, is her Tennessee Williams Festival took place there. There have been dance groups that performed.
St. Louis University uses it as their theater because they don't have a professional theater.
The Fringe Festival.
The Fringe, I mean, it's being used, as a matter of fact, the problem isn't finding people to go in it. The problem is finding room for the people who want to go in it. Before the pandemic hit, it was this booming place that was busy all the time.
But I do want to say
Yeah.
that during the pandemic, we put a tent outside the Grandel Theater, and all but maybe 6 weeks of the whole pandemic, we had live music. And the first, I remember Peta Williams, pianist, burst into tears. He said, I haven't performed live this whole time. And many of the other musicians also cried. And we had our grandkids at one of the openings. They said, Nanny, why are you crying? I said, I'm crying happy tears because you can't appreciate art unless you're right there. I said, well, what about literature? We have no literary venues down under the umbrella of the Kranzberg Arts Foundation. So here we are at the high-low.
There are very few cities that have these kind of literary centers. There's a big one in New York. This is actually larger than the one in New York, I believe.
I think it is, yeah.
And upstairs, we have
Tennessee
Williams Festival, River Styx, St. Louis Poetry Center, the Shirley LaFleur Foundation. She was a former, now deceased Poet Laureate of St. Louis. And we have the Office of the Poet Laureate of St. Louis is all up there. And then writers can use the spaces up there to write if they want to use it.
Our latest is the 3333 building where Sophie's Artist Lounge has been relocated. And it's quite the hip place. What else is in the 3333?
Well, we have the Shakespeare Festival is there. The Fashion Fund is there.
The arts in St. Louis make more money than all the sports teams combined.
St. Louis is a great arts community and has more than, with the exception of maybe a New York or Chicago, really has the arts.
We believe that St. Louis is the most culturally rich city per capita in the country. What's next? We don't know. And also, we never had a plan. It just started, what's the word? Organic. It was just sort of organic. It just kept growing and growing.
And the better Tricor Braun did, the more things we could do.
That's right. That's his company.
That's my company.
Nancy and Ken, let me thank you for all that you do for the St. Louis arts community. You are really a treasure, and we are so lucky to have you making a difference in this community.
Thanks for honoring us. We really appreciate it, and thanks for the great work you're doing in the arts community.